to give you a warm welcome today. You know, we want to talk a little bit about why the nation has such a thing as a National Day of Prayer. And we want to go to Acts chapter 27 in order to get a grip on this whole idea. What it all amounts to is the Apostle Paul has spent time in prison, a long time in prison. He's a wanted man, particularly by his countrymen. He's of Jewish background, and his countrymen just simply want to rid the earth of him. So he's now put himself under the protection of the Roman authorities just to get himself a little safety from, shall we say, the violence of his countrymen, particularly the religious countrymen, those in the Sanhedrin, teachers of the law, Pharisees, Sadducees, the scribes, the lawyers, scribes and lawyers, really about the same thing. They want to get rid of him. The reason for that is they see him as a complete threat to what they hold dear. And so they want to get rid of him in the worst way. They also know that he is capable of drawing other people into his way of thinking as well. And that means loss for them. It's as if he would be considered a stealer of sheep to the Jewish leadership. Well, the Apostle Paul has now come under the protection and the safety of the Roman government, but that doesn't mean it's so sweet or nice. It's not at all. In fact, for 2 years he just hangs in limbo in this one prison in Caesarea, which is on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea, straight west of Jerusalem. And what we find then is the Apostle Paul is waiting and waiting, and he gets chances to bring his case before different noteworthy individuals, including King Agrippa, including some of the Roman officials who want to hear what he has to say. So he speaks to them, though he's in chains. Sometimes they bring in all their friends and relatives as well. So the Apostle Paul then speaks to the entire group. Sometimes it's an entire auditorium filled with some of the most important people in that situation of life in that part of the world. And the Apostle Paul then waits and waits. Now finally, he is going to be heading toward Italy. He's going to be heading toward Rome. That's the capital of the Roman Empire. That's where the Caesar lives. And he's pleading for, shall we say, the hearing and for the judgment of the Caesar in Rome. And so here he goes. While he's going into that direction, he is leaving behind all his countrymen in Jerusalem. He's going farther and farther away from them. And so we read, when it was decided that we would sail for Italy, that's in Acts 27 and verse 1, Paul and some other prisoners were handed over to a centurion, a Roman centurion named Julius. They don't often give names, but here we know his name is Julius, who belonged to the imperial regiment. He's the best of the best. He's a servant of Caesar, and when he steps on a ship, he takes complete charge of the ship. It's not as though he has to listen to the captain or the pilot or the owner. He is in charge of the ship as soon as he steps onto that ship. And it says, we boarded a ship from Adramyttium, about to sail for ports along the coast of the province of Asia, and we put out to sea. Aristarchus, a Macedonian from Thessalonica, was with us. So he now is heading to some of the places where he had done his tremendous missionary work on his not his first, but his second and third missionary journeys. And what we find is he has somebody traveling with him. It's not very often that a prisoner will have companions who travel with him, but that's true here as he heads toward the province of Asia in modern-day Turkey, way on the western side. It says, the next day we landed at Sidon, and Julius, in kindness to Paul, allowed him to go to his friends so they might provide for his needs. So Julius, the centurion, allows Paul to go to his friends, fellow believers in Sidon. You've heard of Tyre and Sidon, no doubt. Well, they haven't yet gone out toward Asia just yet, Asia Minor. From there we put out to sea again and passed to the lee, that's the wind-free side of Cyprus, because the winds were against us. And when we had sailed across the open sea off the coast of Cilicia and Pamphylia, we landed in Myra in Lycia. Then the centurion, it says, found an Alexandrian ship sailing for Italy and put us on board. So now they switched over to a different ship, and now they're going to head toward Italy. We made slow headway for many days and had difficulty arriving off Gnidus. And when the wind did not allow us to hold our course, we sailed to the lee of Crete. And there's a mountain range across there, and then there's a wind-free side, that's the lee side, and along Crete, opposite Salmone. And we moved along the coast with difficulty and came to a place called Fair Havens, near the town of Lasea. Now, they're on the coast of Crete, and they come to Fair Havens, and they have to make a decision. What are they going to do? You see, what they know is that it's very late in the year, it's late October, and they are in danger of getting these tremendous hurricane force winds that blow down from, shall we say, the mountains of Crete. They start up much more to the northeast. They could blow down, and they have to decide, what will we do? And so they vote. And the centurion also checks with the pilot and the captain. They all decide to leave Fair Haven, except for one voice that says, we should just stay here. And that's the voice of the prisoner. He has chains on his hands, chains on his feet.